She had gotten a credit card right off the bat there at the college, at the student union. I didn't know anything about it, and she had only made one payment to the first one, and then the second one had given her a credit card. Third one gave her a credit card. You know, she didn't have a credit history with them. She was months behind on her first credit card she got. I don't think they check what the people write down as far as where you work, how long you've worked, or whatever, because Mitzi had a part-time job, 12 hours a week, and got 3 credit cards. Now, I know in '72, when her dad and I got married, we both worked 40-hour week jobs, applied for a credit card and couldn't get one. But then in 1997, they can, on doing nothing.
Can you explain how banks determine the creditworthiness of an 18-year-old college student, which is apparently one of their key targets?
The credit card issuers use a variety of models to try to model the risk of certain populations that they will offer cards to. And they can look at their experience with individuals that attend particular types of schools, what the credit performance experience has been.
If you are 18 and you're not in college, or you're 18 and you're a VOTEC student, or you're 18 and you're working, you don't get the credit card applications. It's the college students that get it. So if you're going out there and you've got a job and you're actually working, they don't want you, because maybe they figure you know the value of $1 then, but those people don't get it. So we're setting up a 2-tiered system here. And they're just, I believe they're exploiting the college students, an easy market.
When we went to the Capitol with the senator to pass this bill, we were up against 8-10 bankers, you know, lobbying for this bill not to pass.
Sitting there, just 2 moms, and in front of us were the bankers talking about, well, I'm going to contribute, I believe it was $1,500 to your campaign, and somebody else, and we're just 2 moms sitting there, and they were big contributors, and that bill didn't have a chance. Just, nobody wanted to listen to us. They wanted to listen to the money.
To earn credit, first you have to develop your character. You have to be trustworthy. Second, you have to have capacity to pay your bills. And third, you need some capital in the form of savings and other property. Scoring high on these 3 C's is essential to earn a good credit rating.
Gee, I bet my dad scores high on the 3 C's.
Oh, that's right, Judy. Your father has an excellent credit rating. Here's his record at the Credit Bureau.
Why, it goes way back before I was born.
People would really be shocked if they knew that as they went through their day, purchasing things, using their credit card, signing a check, putting their name on some piece of paper, and ultimately that information is being scooped up behind them. Here comes the Credit Bureau with a little dust tray and a broom, and they're scooping up information behind them that is then used to derive the numerical assessment.
You hear me say it over and over and over again, that one of the most important parts of your entire financial foundation is your FICO score. Your FICO score determines the interest rates that you pay on car loans, credit cards, mortgages, whether you get a cell phone, whether a landlord will rent to you, many times if an employer will hire you. It has to do with everything.
They portray it as being like the Coca-Cola formula, that each of their algorithms are akin to the Coca-Cola formula. But in reality, they want to keep it secretive because they don't want to be attacked on the basis of discrimination or to be shown that there is some defective logic behind it. Well, it's a continuous fight to get at the inner workings of the credit scoring process.
Well, the problem is that most, I won't say most, but a good chunk of the public has at least one error or inaccuracy on their credit bureau that can adversely affect them. And the cards are stacked against you to get that fixed. Even if you absolutely know as the officer there at the bank that that this stuff is not this person's. There's another John Smith. And you know that this is, because you've documented for, you've dealt with that client for the last 20 years. You still are beating your head against the wall.
I'll see, we bought this place, would be like 32 years ago. We used to be the only people out here. This is our chicken coops over here. My husband, Harold, he raises hogs, and he does farm. We got some fields back there. I got sick back in '92, and so my brother donated a kidney to me. And so him and I were close anyway. Now I guess you'd say we're closer. But so I was helping him try to get a vehicle.
We were trying to make a deal for a pickup, and we got into the office, one of the offices, and they started doing a credit check or something to do the final paperwork or something like that. And the gentleman come back and said that Doris was deceased and there was going to be a problem.
What I've found out, my loan that I had taken out for my daughter that is deceased, it was supposed to be put on there as transferred and forgiven by the government, and someone put in there as that I was deceased. So yeah, I was just a real big typographical error.
He could have gave her the benefit of the doubt, and he could have said, well, my God, there's a mistake in the computer end of it. Not look at her and say, I'm going to call the cops because obviously you must be the criminal. There was a salesman on the floor that personally knew her. I mean, if he had done 2 minutes of checking of his own people or his own computer, he would have found out who she was and that she was the, in fact, Doris Goldman. He read that little screen and it said, well, you must be a criminal. Well, that's what really hurts right there.
From then on has been just, you know, trying to clear my name that I was not deceased.
They're not interested in fixing inaccuracies. If they had, they would have done something about it a long time ago. They know what the problems are. They're just not going to fix them.
It's expensive.
No, it's not too expensive to fix it. It's contrary to what their objectives are. Their objective is to simply to satisfy the furnisher of information, the user, the industry.
The first day that you work the account, you usually pull the person's credit bureau report. So we have a direct link on with our software on the computer system. It's almost all like private investigation work, you know, but it's sites that you have access to, and you go in there and, you know, you're just hunting. So this is an online program.
Basically what you can do on this is type in their social security number. It's going to give me every previous address that he's been at, back up to 20 years, possible neighbors.
It's not illegal for us to call your neighbors and try to get a message to you. You can have a neighbor try to get you to call back, and you know, how embarrassing is that to somebody if, you know, they have to get a message through a neighbor?
I find it more effective if you actually reach a relative of theirs, because obviously that's a little more embarrassing.
A few years ago, a close friend of mine who's an in-house counsel to a sheriff here in a Louisiana parish called me and he says, David, he says, Equifax has come here to the sheriff's office and they want to give us a terminal, but we don't really need one. He says, can we just hook them up? They said we can hook them up on everybody's desk. And I said, well, what legitimate business need do you have for a credit reporting terminal there at the sheriff's office? Well, I don't know. They said we could pull it on suspects and people, you know, we could pull a credit report on anybody we want. And I said, no, that's not true. And I said, well, what did they ask from you reciprocally? Well, they want us to provide information to them. About what? About everything we do. Everything from tax deeds to tax liens to criminal matter. They just want us to report a lot of information back to them. And they're using that information, manipulating the data, repackaging it and reselling it and sharing it and spreading it around because consumers, they think they have privacy. I mean, if I walked up to you on the street and I said, well, tell me about your right to privacy from me or from a company as a private individual, you'd say, well, the Constitution. No, the Constitution doesn't provide you a right to privacy from me. It provides you a right to privacy from